everybody. Today would technically be the last day of week 1 of Half-Life. So, Half-Life started out strong. Half-Life, he's got the name, he refers to physics and I don't know, goes on into that. But each week has a different technique. Week 1 is called the decay sets. So what that is going to be is you start out with about your 12 rep weight, and then you're going to cut those in half as you make your way through the set. And as you make your way through the set, your rest time between those mini sets will also decrease. And just one round of that, so where you cut things in half from 12, 6, 3, that's one set. And then you'll do that 3 times. The breakdown of the workouts is upper push, upper pull, and a leg day. And then we're back to burst training, and there's 2 burst training sessions in the week. Those burst training sessions started out pretty intense. It was a lot of jumping. So this week's burst training sessions are called double up and then double down. So you had 4 sets of 2 exercises, and the first time you do the workout, you will start with the easier of the pair, exercise-wise. You'll have a specified number of reps, and then you have to hit that number of reps. You drop to the harder exercise, and the amount of reps decreases by half. So you would go from like 100 to 50. And then you'll make your way through that workout one time, one round, that's it. Technically, he asks you to time yourself because you're going to repeat a form of that workout later in the week called double up, where things will flip. So same order in regards to the pairs, but now that harder exercise is going to come first, and the easier of the pair is going to come second, but your rep amount stays the same from the first workout, and you're supposed to time yourself and compare. So I have to make adjustments because, and I should say, I made adjustments that first time around because some of those exercises are extremely intense. So I modified for myself. For example, one of them was supposed to be burpee pull-ups. Can't do pull-ups without an assistance band. And because you're looking at speed here, constantly getting myself in and out of that assistance band just wouldn't work. So I did scat pulls from the Max Shred program. But that workout included a lot of jumping from jump rope. Technically it was supposed to be double unders, but being in the basement, I switched that to tuck jumps, burpee box jumps, even like the mule kicks, a little hard. And it seems to have upset my ankle. So much so that it's just not feeling the greatest. I've been resting it. Obviously not going to do the second version of this burst training. I'd like my ankle to get better so I can keep moving forward. So I am just going to do a substitution and work more on the ski erg and the row machine today, varying those up to get my burst training session in, and then take it next week and see how it goes. I enjoyed the burst training. It was a great cardio, great challenge, but it was one of those things that it's a lot of jumping, so be wary of that. So today should wrap up week 1, then we'll go on to week 2. The technique is going to change, so it won't be decay sets anymore. It's another technique I haven't even looked into, but the schedule stays the same with the upper push, upper pull, legs, and then your 2 burst training sessions. Morning, everybody. Just checking in real quick. Yesterday I was able to finally finish up week one of Half-Life. The burst training this past week had a lot of jumping. So the first attempt went well. I enjoyed it. Next thing I knew, my ankle was really, really bothering me. So I worked my way around that. Cardio, got done on the machines that were a little less intense on the lower body. So spin bike, row machine, ski erg. But I continued to do the lifting part of the program. So I've dipped my toes into week 2, and I know what's just finished up the first burst training session of week 2. It's called half empty. And you're half empty by the time you actually start, because you have 4 exercises, and he sets you up. You start with a minute, and you start with about 3 reps of each exercise. Do that, rest the remainder of the minute. What you are doing, and you're going to keep going. You keep going until you cannot perform that prescribed number of reps within 1 minute. And that will be your target number. So I got up to like 7. So it would be 7 box jumps, 7 incline plyo push-ups. But timer went off on a minute, and I hadn't finished that. So you have to drop it down, you get your target number. So that gives me my target number of 6. Then you rest a very short amount of time, and you go and take that target number, perform that workout over and over again. You'll perform my target number 6, so all 4 exercises 6 times. Then you rest, and it's 30 seconds flat, like the minute's gone now. Rest that 30 seconds, and you just keep going until you can't go any more. And I know for myself here, by myself down here, you start thinking, in those 30 seconds, do I have it in me to do it, or do we just call it? But I kept pushing and pushing, and I got 8 rounds. 8 rounds I completed, but the last exercise, the sprawling burpees, got pretty sloppy and pretty slow, so that's when I decided to tap out. And the difficult part is your heart rate doesn't fully recover in those 30 seconds, and you're back at it. And I did notice as the rounds started to pile up, my heart rate wasn't coming down as much as it was in the beginning rounds. I think I tapped out. Mind you, it's a watch, so I think, a lot of room for error, but according to the watch, I tapped out like 148 beats per minute. And then in those first couple of rounds, the couple of times that I looked at it or even turned on the heart rate monitor, it was down to like 110, 112, and then I'm starting back up again. But that final round, taking a peek at my watch, I think my heart rate only got down to the I don't know, maybe it was 130s, 120s, and you're going back. And that's when you're like, oh, I don't think I've got much more in me. So yesterday was the leg day, and I just did not care for it. I didn't come into it with the greatest attitude. Just wasn't feeling it. But then on top of it, I had already kind of looked ahead at the workout, saw the exercises, and just knew it was not going to be pleasant. They were, I don't know that I've talked about this yet. This week is called, I think it's the doubling sets. So you're using your 12 rep max weight, and you start with 1.5 rep. So for Bulgarian split squats, and yes, they're in this program too, you will go all the way down, come halfway up, back down, then all the way up, and that's 1. So with your 12 rep max weight, you should only be getting in the range of 5 to 7. Then directly from there, you drop the weight halfway, so if you were using 20s, you'd go to 10s, and then you double the amount that you got on the 1.5 reps. If you got 5, now you're doing 10, and you just do another 10, but this time regular down and up reps. Just when you thought Bulgarian split squats couldn't suck anymore, he adds the 1.5 rep technique. And on the Bulgarian split squats, my heart was just pounding. And they're just Bulgarian split squats. I'm not a huge fan, but they are a great exercise. The ones that just, I was not enjoying. He utilizes the dumbbell front step-ups. And he's doing the 1.5 reps on that. So a half rep, you'll come up, you follow through. On a half rep, you're supposed to go halfway down. My balance is not there. So it was big wobbling, falling. And when you continually keep falling or struggling, I know some people are like, it just makes me push harder. For me, I was just like, this just sucks. This is not, I just don't think I'm getting out of this what I should be getting out of it. So kept playing around with it. Finally decided to take my stepper, which is obviously much lower to the ground, and I would do the full rep, come up, follow through. I would go down, tap the ground, come back up, and then go all the way down. Consider that one. I just need that contact with the ground to catch my balance or get my balance back. So I had to modify that. And then finally, one of the other exercises is from Zero and a couple others. If you've seen him on YouTube, it's the heel touch exercise. Again, so it really, you would be focusing on that flexion at the hip, going down, and this time he wants you to have dumbbells. Those dumbbells to touch the ground, and you'll come back up, focusing on posterior chain or the glutes and the hams. Again, my balance, not great, so I just got rid of the weight altogether and just focused on just strict body weight. And that was plenty for me, and even still, I kind of kickstand my foot on the ground to help give me that balance, because if I'm holding my leg up, I'm a wobbling like a tree in a hurricane. So that one, just with my mentality, how much I struggled with a lot of the exercises, just didn't sit well with me. And because of that, I've looked ahead, kind of planned my week out, or I shouldn't even say my week, the next couple of days. And I have decided I'm going to throw in another leg workout. I just want a good heavy weight, your basic moves kind of workout. So I am probably going to hit up just a max size quads and hams, where it was just 10 sets at 10 on your squats and your deadlifts. That's my plan going forward with the remainder of this week. Because again, the one thing I noticed with Athlean X, and I don't know if it's because maybe it is geared more towards men, but that's my theory. I always feel like the lower half doesn't get quite what I would like it to get. I would like to hit it more often in a week. So best I can do is just modify it for myself. Hey everybody, so today I'm finally getting to the second burst training session of week 2. It's called half full. So you're taking your numbers from half empty burst training session and trying to beat those. So you had a target number that you reached and the amount of rounds that you could do with these 4 exercises. I didn't do half empty entirely correctly. You're supposed to be doing all of the exercises within a minute. The only thing is, the problem with that is there's a lot of different timing going on. So you're supposed to be, your target number is how many of each move you can do within that minute. And then it turns into that 30-second rest. Well, you kind of would have to be clicking buttons and having multiple clocks go or watching that minute. I'm going to give it a try this time around to kind of be a little more focused on that timing aspect. When I did the half empty, which remember, you built your way up to your target number. That's where the half empty title comes from. So you're already, pretty taxed by the time you hit that target number and just see how many times you can do it. So the whole goal is you're half full, or you're coming in this fresh, is to beat that number of rounds you could do with your target number. And your target number is, he makes you add 1 to each exercise. That's one way I didn't totally do half empty correctly. But that's what we got going on right now. Today's New Year's Day, so Happy New Year to everybody. I know it's been a long time. Holidays, as always, got very busy, and I continued to exercise, but there was a little trip in there, and for the most part, I focused a lot on just walking and moving and yoga to keep moving, but also maintain stress levels with the holidays. So hopefully now we're getting kind of back into normalcy. So we'll try to stay more consistent with the videos and the Athlean X workouts. Hey everybody, so that finishes up week 2 of half-life training. So we saw the decay sets, the doubling sets. Those are all coming back in the last 2 weeks. They're just going to be combining in one workout. So finished up half full. That timing aspect makes a huge difference. So I would set an interval timer for 1 minute, and then I also had a running clock going, because remember, at this point now your breaks are 30 seconds. So those 2 clocks going at one time were helpful. And the other thing probably to make note of is you had that target number that you added 1 to for every exercise in the circuit. Then you had that number of rounds that you hit in half empty. So I just had this mindset in my mind that I wanted to surpass that rounds number. So I had 8, I wanted to hit 9. But in order to do that, I had to start modifying. So where the incline plyo push-ups turned into just incline push-ups, And the sprawling burpees turned into just regular burpees at one point to hit that 9 goal. Remember, the instructions aren't written in stone. If you need to modify to make it work for you, to hit whatever goal that you just want to hit, do it. You know, this is all for you. So do what you got to do for yourself. And then take into consideration that this whole workout is to failure. So the idea is once you can't complete those numbers within a minute, now, unlike half empty, where we worked our way up to our target number, so you start at 3 per exercise, then 4 per exercise, then 5 per exercise, and just kept going to get that target number. Now you have to work backwards. So you can't hit 8 of each exercise within that 1 minute. You fail, you rest your 30 seconds, then you do 7 of each exercise till you fail, and you go to 5, then you go to 4, down to 3. And when you hit those lower numbers for 4 times per exercise within a minute, you get a little bit more reprieve within that minute of doing the workout or exercises. So you might be stuck at that 4 target number for multiple rounds. While it's very simple and short looking on paper or the app, the execution is quite more extensive, especially depending on your fitness level. And if you're like me and I wanted to make it go longer, modifications might make it last longer as well. Because I noticed for myself, it wasn't that I was running out of that minute. I just got, as I said, I had to modify. I got to that point where I couldn't do the incline push-ups anymore, and sprawling burpees turned into regular burpees. And towards the end, being very mindful of how my body was feeling, I technically was still making that time limit when I was doing 3 of each exercise. I stopped because I could feel my ankle starting to bother me and my shoulder. So that wraps up the first 2 weeks of Half Life. Again, happy New Year. I hope everybody has set themselves some nice attainable goals, or I always just goals that you want to hit. And this bugs my husband because he always has these goals that he wants to hit, and I try to just say, make them attainable. You know, don't set. You can have a goal, very big goal, but set mini goals in between so it doesn't seem too crazily out of reach. Set yourself up for success. There's my piece of advice for 2023. See you guys.